Hello and welcome. My name is Frank Smith. I'm with Serene Escapes Spa and Travel, where you can refresh your mind, body, and spirit. To reach me, you can email me at frankmaster@hotmail.com. Again, that's frankmaster@hotmail.com, or dial 909-271-0160. I'm here to take you through the online check-in process for Royal Caribbean via video email. If you'd like to take a cruise, a group cruise, a family reunion cruise, you can contact me at frankmaster@hotmail.com or dial 909-271-0160. Okay, we can begin the process. You can use any browser you like, whether it's Internet Explorer, Google Chrome, Safari, or Mozilla Firefox. Any one will suffice for the online check-in process. Once you bring up your favorite browser, type in the address bar the following address: www.rccl.com. Again, it's www.rccl.com. Once the page comes up, it'll look something like this, and you'll see this bar across the front. And what you want to do is click on Before You Board. When you click on that, it's going to bring down another menu bar, and you're going to look for the online check-in, where the arrow is pointing and blinking. Click on Online Check-in. Now to bring you to the online check-in page. Now, when you check in online, it saves time. You won't have to fill out the forms at the pier. When you and your party arrive, you just need your signed set sail pass, your identification documents, and the credit card you registered online. But we first want you to gather all the information below. So, if you need to stop this video and gather that information, feel free to do so. If not, we can proceed on if you already have that information. This is a booking confirmation that I sent to my guests. This allows them to have all the information that they need. You're going to see this in the upcoming slide here. So I'm pulling that information, not from that one, but from the actual current one that we're going on. And here's how this information is to go. Your last name, if you're going on a cruise, goes here. That reservation number goes there. The sailing date goes in that box there. And the ship that you're going on. Now this is a port-out menu which contains all of Royal Caribbean's cruise ships. So you're going to pick the appropriate cruise ship that you're going on. In this case, we're going on Oasis of the Seas. When all information has been entered, click Submit. Now before we go any further, I want to go through some travel documentation. Please take a few minutes to familiarize yourself with the required travel documents. The requirements described below are required by government regulations and policies. They are subject to change without notice. This is not a Royal Caribbean regulation. This is a U.S. government regulation. Royal Caribbean International strongly recommends that all guests travel with a passport that is valid for at least 6 months beyond the end of the cruise. It is the sole responsibility of the guest to identify and obtain all required travel documents for the entire cruise vacation and have them available when necessary. These appropriate valid travel documents, passports, visas, family legal documents, and inoculation certificates are required for boarding and re-entry into the United States and other countries. Guests who do not possess the proper documentation may be prevented from boarding their flight or ship or from entering a country and may be subject to fines. Very important. No refund will be given to individuals who fail to bring proper documentation. Again, no refunds will be given to individuals who fail to bring proper documentation. Continuing on. The following requirements are for sailings from a United States port to the Caribbean, Bahamas, Bermuda, Canada/New England, Hawaii, Alaska, Panama Canal, and Mexico. United States citizens on cruises that begin and end at the same port in the United States can use a government-issued picture ID. An example would be a state driver's license, and a government-issued birth certificate or original naturalization certificate for boarding and deboarding. Note, baptismal papers and hospital certificates of birth are not acceptable. Military identification cards, voter registration cards, or social security cards are not considered proof of citizenship and are not acceptable. A passport from your home country is strongly recommended. Okay, we can continue on. I'm going to use a friend of mine's online check-in, get status, just to give you an idea of what it looks like when you put that information in. It comes up for the first time. You're going to find down here your name, which would be first name and last name. I removed the last name to protect those whose paperwork I'm using. But on here, if you're traveling with a friend and you're not married, you can uncheck this box down here, and that way you can fill out just your information, and you can allow your friend to come back in and fill out their information and begin their check-in. Okay, let's move ahead. I'm going to use my information here to kind of give you that information that you're looking for. As you can see here, mine's already completed. As you look at all the boxes here, I've completed everything that needs to be completed. But one thing I want to bring your attention to is over here where it says your cruise. You want to verify that you have the right reservation number, that you're leaving from the right port, you're on the right cruise, you got the correct travel dates that you're going on, and how many people are going. And of course this down here would depict, which is hidden, your room number and what kind of stateroom you have. Bring your attention down here where it says onboard activities and waivers. When you complete this information up here, go down here and click on onboard activities and waivers and fill in that information. You're going to want to have that done before you board the cruise ship as well. Okay, you're on part 1, which is the reservation information. As you can see, some of the fields are already pre-populated, which is your first and last name. If your passport has a middle name, be sure to enter that information here, or your birth certificate. If there's a middle name, enter that information here. Otherwise, you could have problems when you get to the pier. Crown and Anchor members, if you're a past Royal Caribbean guest on a cruise ship that you paid for, then you want to have that Crown and Anchor number, put it in there. That gives you credit for this cruise that you're cruising on. Once you've entered all this information and you're done, click Save and Continue, and that'll take you to part 2, which is the personal information. Again, you want to be aware of certain things here. Where you see the asterisk at, those are required fields. They must be populated with something. And you also want to take a look at the country of citizenship and also the gender. Make sure you have the right gender for yourself, and if you're married or single. Again, if you're married, you want to click married, and if you're single and traveling by yourself, you want to click that single and put that in, and make sure your birthday matches up correctly for what's on your passport or your birth certificate. Scroll down further and you get to the residence address information, and you want to put that information in. As you scroll further down, you can see here my preferred urgent method of contact. You want this information inputted, and of course it is a required field with the asterisk there. So you want them to contact you either via email or phone, or whichever way that they have in there that's desired for you. Once you've done all that, go ahead and click Save and Continue. Okay, we're on part 3 of 4. Here's the emergency contact information. You don't want to fill that information in. Now, emergency contact is someone who is not going on a cruise with you, someone who's still left on land while you're out sailing at sea. You want to input that information in case something goes wrong. Identification information, this is the information that you're going to tell them what mode of identification you're going to use to verify who you are. In this case, I'm using a passport, and the last 4 numbers are used on there, and of course the expiration date of that passport. If you're going to use a birth certificate, you're going to pull down here, choose birth certificate, and put in the appropriate information. Once you've done all this, again, click Save and Continue. This will take you to part 4, which is your travel plans. What the cruise line wants to know is, how are you getting to the port? Are you flying? Are you taking a train, a bus? They want that information inputted so that they know what your mode of travel is. Okay, in this part here, I've already put my wife's information in, and so I'm just basically telling it to copy that information and put it in mine since we're traveling together. As you can see here, here's pretty much a date, the arrival time. I'm going to get in almost 5 o'clock. Flying United Airlines. I have a flight number. The arrival airport is Miami, and your originating airport, where you're starting out from. Scroll down further and you'll get into your departure information. Again, I'm copying that. You'll put it up here. So I'm going to depart on the 28th, the day the cruise comes in, after 3 o'clock. I'm probably on the same departure carrier. Put your flight number in. I'm going to depart out of the Miami airport and put in my final destination airport that I'll be landing at. Scroll down a little bit further, you can put in the cruise history. This is not information that is pertinent that you have to put in. It's simply information that Royal Caribbean is asking for. You can choose to put it in or continue, save and continue. Once you do that, you end up with step 2, onboard expense account. I choose to use a credit card whenever I'm traveling. Saves me time and effort. Here I chose I would like to pay for my onboard expenses with a credit card. Saves you a lot of hassle down the line here. I put that information down here. Scroll down and I click the boxes. In this case here, since my wife is going with me, we use the same credit card. Both the boxes are checked. That applies to me and her. If you want someone separate, in this case, if you bring a friend, then you can fill out yours and then they can fill out their own, and you can both use separate credit cards for your onboard expenses. An onboard expense would be something considered like maybe you want to go to 150 and eat out, and there's a price that comes with that. Well, you can pay for yours and they can pay for theirs with their sell and sign card. Once you fill that information in, go ahead and click Save and Continue. This brings you to step 3, your cruise ticket contract. Of course, you want to read through this if you have the time. If you don't have the time and you want to just click through and read it later, you can do that. But go ahead and check the boxes here. If you're checking it for yourself and your spouse, then go ahead and do that. If you're checking it for just yourself and they're going to go in and do their own, then make sure that's done. Once you've done all that, go ahead and click Save and Continue. This is going to bring you to step 4, which allows you to print that set sail documentation. And you're going to keep that. I recommend holding onto that paperwork and signing and dating it at the dock. But I also recommend printing that probably about a week before you get ready to depart for your trip, and have that information already packed and ready and available. Okay, your onboard activities waiver. Again, I mentioned that earlier. You definitely want to go back in when you complete this and click on that. This will bring you down, as you can see, into the onboard activities waivers and the status waivers. You can do that for yourself, or you can do it for both of the people that's going if you're married. And you can go through that whole process there. As you can see, once you're going into it, for myself here, it allows you to sign off on flow rider, ice skating, rock climbing wall, zip line. None of these I may not do. I did a zip line last time, it was great, but the other 3 I never even got around to. So I like to have them already signed, just in case I get there, they're done. You may get to either one of these, and they may have you just sign another one, just in case. Okay, that concludes our online check-in process. Again, if you want to book any kind of travel, go ahead and give me a call or email me at frankmaster@hotmail.com or 909-271-0160. That's all, folks. Frank Smith at Serene Escapes, where you can refresh your mind, body, and spirit. Take care.